It's also a big recruiting weekend, and
Yes.
players that are targets now got a chance to experience, to a certain extent, the Memorial Stadium atmosphere.
Yeah. And this one, first, well, I say first off, I forgot to do this in the middle of the stream. I did after the spring game, but to anybody who was affected by the tornadoes out there and stuff like that, thoughts out to everybody out there who was affected. In that, they got, Barstool Sports has the Husker Strong shirts where all the net proceeds go to the disaster relief out there. So, but just seeing the 60,000 fans out there for a early spring game kickoff at the day after that happened. I think that was very, very telling. And I think a lot of these, recruits also could see that. And fan support is something that recruits mention, pretty often. But, some of the guys that we had on campus that were some of our bigger targets. I think Cortez Mills was one of the guys. He's a top receiver target. I think he was one of those guys that really was the most complimentary of everything. Because he talked about fans showing love, like they knew who he was, and that was a good feeling to him. Like they recognized him, they knew who he was. He said he didn't expect the offense to kind of air it out like that. And I did think they wanted to put the pass game on showcase out there, because you can see more from that as opposed to the run game against the defensive front that's not your normal defensive front. He also said the connection with Dylan, like him and Dylan are locked in. He said Dylan checks up on him every single day. And he thinks, Dylan's a future first rounder. He likes the deep aspect of the offense, but one of the big things here is this is coming from last year and how Matt Rule likes to operate versus previous coaches, where if you come in, it doesn't matter what class you are, if you're a freshman, whether you're a true freshman, redshirt freshman, any of that, if you are the guy, you're going to play. If you buy into what the coaches want, they think you're ready, you're going to play. And you're going, you have a potential to play a lot on this team, at a very young age, and a very, at an underclassman. And so he really likes seeing that because it gives him the opportunity to come in and play immediately. And, some of these guys want to do that. Some of these guys want to come in and play immediately. So, and I think the last thing that he mentioned that is very, very important to the staff that I mentioned a lot is just the camaraderie and the family atmosphere. He felt like, they really wanted to make a conscious effort in building a relationship with his family as well as him. But, he said that they were treated like they were on the visit, as opposed to him being on the visit, just with how well they were treated. So Cortez Mills, had a lot of complimentary things to say. Michael Terry, who's the number one athlete in Texas and probably going to have to fight off the Longhorns for him. But he said the city showed him a lot of love. Super big things coming in the future. He likes the staff, the educational aspect of what Nebraska has to offer for him. And he just thinks that Matt Rule's got everything trending in the right direction. Nebraska's trending in the right direction. And he said said the connections with former players that were out there and stuff like that and their families were, the way he put it, unbelievable. So, they see him as a dominant pass catcher in the offense because we know he plays a myriad of positions. He plays 5 different positions all over the field. He be a quarterback, running back, whatever you need him to do. So they see him as a wide receiver in the future if he does ultimately end up coming here. But more often than not, from what I'm reading and what I was going through what the visitors had to say, it's a lot of fan support and a lot of just how this team is, I guess, interacting with each other and how close and how tight knit these guys are. And that's one of the aspects that Matt Rule really wanted to work on is these guys being a family and being brothers, because that's going to make them play better on the field, trusting the guy next to you. And I know people don't like to say this, it's not battle, I understand, but trusting the guy next to you in battle, like when you're in that dogfight in the fourth quarter, trusting the guy next to you to make the play. And so yeah, it's just a lot of good and a lot of it doesn't sound like a lot of this is the old cliche. I had a really good trip. Even one of the recruits talked about the facilities being amazing and the fact that they have a focus on recovery. And he specifically mentioned recovery because Nebraska has probably the best recovery facility now to help these guys rehab from injuries, which, as we know, we really need that to rehab from these injuries. One of the guys said it was the best game he's ever been to, regular season or spring game. And then another guy said it was unbelievable, the turnout. Like this, the turnout was something he didn't expect. And he's like, he knew the fan support was big, but he didn't expect that big of a turnout. So overall, it just feels like these guys are really, really connecting with this staff, connecting with the players. Cortez Mills mentioned that him and Ja'Cory Barney are from the same area. So a lot of connections, a lot of ties here that these coaches try to, get these connections so they have a better chance at landing some of these guys. So a lot of good coming from the recruits. And it's more of a reason why they put the passing game on display. So some of these recruits can come in and see, that operation and how this offense is supposed to look.
I am running through the comments that have come in to the channel this week, looking for anything there. Of course, we posted a video where we did that comparison that Justin brought up between Deion Sanders and Matt Rule, their approaches. Yes. People have some lively comments about that. And again, we'll take your comments and questions about anything concerning the Huskers, but mostly concerning the spring game in particular. Is there any intel out there, Justin, concerning, as Jose is asking about, Maverick Noonan?
So it doesn't right now. There's a lot of things close to the vest, so I'm not sure about his recovery thus far. But I do know that a lot of the guys that are injured, they are speaking about a lot of these guys are at the end or after the end of their kind of recovery process. And so they're going to be, just holding these guys out a little bit and sparing with them because, they don't want to rush them back or anything like that. But Maverick Noonan, nothing about that I know of yet, but I'll try to get that for you if I can find anything on it for sure. Just nothing I've heard about that they brought up specifically. A couple of injuries, though, that were during the spring game. Demetrius Bell, very, very excited for Demetrius Bell. Was supposed to be explosive playmaker on this team. He went down. He's going to be out for the season. And then Bly Hill, the guy, when I did my top 5 spring players, I was the most excited for. Bly Hill was my first guy. And Bly Hill went down with a dislocated knee. Luckily, it looked bad. I mean, that hurts. But what I'm saying is it looked like when you see a guy just laying on the ground, non-contact, just in pain, you usually, holding his knee, you usually think the worst. But he's only out 4 to 8 weeks, according to what Vincent Shavers said. He said 4 to 6, then he said 6 to 8. So Vincent Shavers kind of confirmed that. So he will be okay. He'll be back. So that means Malcolm Hartzog can probably stay at safety. And hopefully Bly Hill's recovery comes quick enough to where he can slide in the cornerback 2 spot in time for the season. But I think with the progress he's made over the spring and how much the staff has talked about him and likes him, I think he'll get it when he's ready.